I never knew what true fear felt like until that day. It was a humid Sunday afternoon, the kind where the ceiling fan seemed to just push warm air around the room. I was in the kitchen, washing plates, humming a worship song while my 3-year-old Chris played on the rug in the sitting room. His laughter floated through the air, soft, innocent, full of the kind of joy that makes motherhood worth every sleepless night. It had been an ordinary day. My husband, T-Man as I fondly call him, had stepped out to buy fuel for the generator. The neighborhood was quiet, the type of stillness that makes you grateful for small, peaceful moments. Then I heard it. It screamed. It wasn't the kind of cry that a child makes when they are scared of the dark or want attention. It was sharp, guttural, filled with pain. I froze. The ball in my hand slipped and crashed into the sink, but I didn't even look back. Chris! I ran into the sitting room. My heart stopped. My baby was on the floor, his little hands clutching his throat. There was a reddish fluid seeping from the corner of his mouth, and his eyes were rolled halfway back. He was gasping, short, desperate gasps, like someone drowning in air. Jesus, Jesus, I screamed, dropping to my knees. I lifted him into my arms. Chris, what happened? Talk to mommy, please. He couldn't respond. His small body trembled, then went limp for a moment. I felt his head fall against my arm, and terror like I had never known gripped me. We didn't have a car. My mind spun wildly. The nearest hospital was almost 15 minutes away on foot. The street outside was quiet. No motorcycles, no taxis passing by. I ran to the door yelling for help. Somebody, please, my child is dying. Help me. No one came out at first. The sun beat down mercilessly, the air thick with dust and silence. Then I saw our neighbor, Mama Joy, emerging from her kiosk across the road. What happened? She shouted, rushing toward me. It's Chris. He's not breathing well. Please help me get to the hospital. She looked around frantically. Let's go to the main road. Maybe we will find a bike. I wrapped Chris in his small towel, holding him close as we ran barefoot down the narrow street. I could feel his chest moving unevenly against mine, a faint, weak rhythm. I prayed under my breath, every step feeling like a battle between life and death. Father, please, don't take him, not like this. When we reached the main road, there was no vehicle in sight. The afternoon heat shimmered on the tar. My throat tightened as I looked down at Chris. His breathing had slowed even more. Please, God, please. Then, as if out of nowhere, an old blue taxi appeared, rattling down the road. I waved both arms wildly. Taxi! Taxi! The driver slowed down, his face puzzled when he saw me clutching the child. What happened? My son can't breathe. Please take us to St. Luke's Hospital. Madam, that place foul. And I not even get fuel like that. Please, I'll pay later. I beg you in the name of God. Something in my voice must have reached him, because without another word, he opened the door. I jumped in, still clutching Chris. Mama Joy squeezed in beside me, holding my arm tight. As the car rattled through the dusty road, every bump made my heart jolt. I pressed my ear against Chris's chest. His heartbeat was faint. His lips were turning blue. Jesus, Jesus, please, not now, I said amidst sobs. I looked out the window, tears streaming down my face. The world outside felt cruelly normal. Children playing by the roadside, people walking lazily, the smell of fried plantain from a nearby stall. How could life just continue while mine was falling apart? Then, the taxi sputtered. No! No, what's happening? I shouted. The driver cursed softly. Madam, the fuel don't finish, oh. I stared at him in disbelief. Not here, please. We're not even close, I screamed. He banged the steering wheel, but the engine refused to come alive. I wanted to scream, but my voice broke. Instead, I looked at my child again. His head had fallen to one side. He wasn't moving. For one horrifying second, I thought it was over. Then something inside me snapped. I wasn't ready to give up. Not after 6 years of waiting, praying, crying for this child. I pressed Chris against my chest, sobbing, Jesus, you gave him to me. You saw my tears. Don't take him away, Lord. You raised Lazarus from the dead. Please do it again. Show up for me now. Mama Joy began to cry too, whispering prayers under her breath. Then, like a miracle, another vehicle slowed to a stop beside us, a black SUV. The window rolled down and a young woman in a nurse's uniform leaned out. What's wrong? She asked quickly. My son, he's not breathing. Please, he's dying. She jumped out of the car and came to my side. Without hesitation, she placed her fingers on his neck. His pulse is weak. We have to move fast. Please help us, I cried. Come with me, she said firmly. I walk at St. Luke's. We will get there in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Those words felt like hope. We got into her car and she sped off, horn blaring through traffic. She kept checking Chris's pulse as she drove, muttering softly, Stay with us, little one. Stay with us. I kept praying. My tears soaked through his towel. I couldn't stop repeating, God, you are not a man that you should lie. You said you'd never leave me. Show me you are here. We reached the hospital gate and everything became a blur. Nurses rushed forward, taking Chris from my arms. They ran into the emergency ward. I tried to follow, but a nurse blocked the door gently. Please, ma'am, wait outside. No, please, I have to be there. Just give us a few minutes. Minutes? That word again. I sank onto the cold bench outside, my heart racing. T-Man arrived soon after, panting, confused, eyes wide with panic after Mama Joy had put a call through to him. What happened? He asked, grabbing my shoulders. I tried to speak, but my words came out in sobs. He just screamed, and now, before I could finish, the doctor stepped out, his face grave. He looked from me to my husband, then said quietly, Can I speak with you, sir? They went into his office. I could barely breathe. Every fiber of my being screamed for good news. I heard a chair scrape, then silence. When T-Man came out, his face was pale. He didn't have to say anything. I saw it in his eyes. No, I whispered, shaking my head. No, don't say it. He tried to hold me, but I pulled away. You're lying. He's not dead. My baby's not dead. I ran past the nurse into the ward. The doctor called after me, but I didn't stop. There he was, my little boy, lying still on the bed, eyes closed, tubes removed. I rushed to him, falling to my knees beside the bed. Jesus, you can't take him, please, I cried, grabbing his tiny hand. I've seen you heal the sick, open blind eyes, bring the dead to life. Do it again. You said you'd never leave me. I pressed his body close, sobbing, rocking him in my arms. Then something happened. It was faint at first, like a tiny shiver beneath my palm. I froze. His fingers twitched. Then his chest moved, a weak rise, then fall. Doctor, he's breathing! I screamed. The doctor rushed back in with disbelief. What? He bent over Chris, checking for a pulse. The nurse ran to grab the oxygen mask. Doctor, I can feel it too, she said breathlessly. Put him back on oxygen, the doctor shouted. The room turned into motion again. Machines beeped. Nurses moved quickly. I stood there, trembling, whispering, Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. After what felt like hours, the doctor looked up at me, his face a mixture of shock and wonder. Madam, he's back, I gasped. He's alive? Yes, he said softly. He's breathing strong again. T-Man sank to his knees right there on the hospital floor, tears streaming down his face. God, you are faithful. I covered my mouth with my hands, sobbing, overwhelmed by awe. 2 days later, we were discharged. Chris sat on the hospital bed, laughing and playing with a balloon as though nothing had ever happened. Even the doctor kept shaking his head, saying, There's no scientific explanation for this. He was gone. But I knew what had happened. God showed up right at the darkest hour. That night, after we got home, I watched my son sleep. His tiny chest rose and fell gently in the dim light. I touched his hair, whispering, "You are a testimony, my child." Surviving a collapsed lung, according to his diagnosis, is a miracle. Timan joined me, sitting quietly by the bed. "He was gone for 10 minutes, he said softly. I nodded. 10 minutes after death, God showed up. He took my hand. We'll never forget this day. No, I said, because it reminded me that even when the night feels endless, joy still comes in the morning. Even when the road looks empty, even when the taxi breaks down, even when everyone says it's too late, God can still show up. Sometimes he waits until there's no other way, so the world will know it was him all along. I've lived it, I've seen it, and now, every time I look at Chris, I remember. Miracles don't come early or late, they come right on time. 10 minutes after death, heaven moved, and life began again.